My name is Jeff Rolka. I want to thank you for checking out my video. This is about singing in tune and how to do it. I've broken it down into beginner, advanced, and pro, and I'm going to dive right in. But before I do, thank you if you've chosen to subscribe. If you haven't yet, I hope that you'll consider doing so now. If you want a step-by-step method to work on your voice, head over to jeffrolka.com where you can sign up for the AAA method. And while you're there, consider checking out the shop where you can find some downloads as well as my guidebook to the nearly 500 videos that are here on the channel. It'll help you put together workflows, and it's optimized for searching within the book and then taking you directly to what it is you want to work on. It's all explained in the book. Intonation, or to sing in tune, or to be in tune, it's a problem in and of itself, but I look at it more as a symptom of other things that are problematic with our voices. Now let me explain. If you go to the gym and you're going to lift weights, or if you've talked to a bodybuilder and they're going to do arms, it's going to be an arms, I haven't spent that much time in the gym. It's going to be an arms day, right? But when they get there, they work on the biceps, they work on their triceps, they work on the stuff that's up here, okay? They work on the specific muscle groups in order to strengthen them, and they do it in a very specific way. When we have intonation problems, I find that it is, generally speaking, one of a few different problems that we're having. Let's talk about beginners here for a second. Generally speaking, for the beginning vocalist, and this may mean that you've been singing for a long time, but you're new to vocal study, you haven't done the vocalizations, it is generally a problem of awareness and acuity. The beginning vocalist hasn't necessarily had to sing a scale pattern before, and when they find scale patterns in the songs that they're working on, the intricacies of predicting where each of those notes are supposed to be in the key that we are in is not something that they've practiced. Maybe they've sung along with people or sung along with a track or the original artist, but they haven't had to do it on their own without the melody. Learning those patterns and learning how to use our voices in a systematic way through those patterns is a big, big deal when we're new to vocal study, when we're new to singing without a guide track. Overall awareness and the ability to hear the differences between those pitches for the beginning vocalist and really for the beginning musician is something that needs to be practiced as well. This is why you'll find solfege exercises on the channel. The solfege exercises help you build your aural, A-U-R-A-L, acuity so that you can more accurately hear the spaces between notes, what we call intervals in music. A general understanding of fache as well for the beginning vocalist can sometimes be problematic. In other words, if you don't know if you're a baritone, tenor, alto, mezzo, soprano, you name it, and all the sort of subdivisions in between, you may be trying to sing a song that is entirely in the wrong range for you, or you're not sure how to move it to a different range for your voice. Those are both vocalist and musicianship issues that beginners often come upon. Let's say you're a baritone and you're aware of this, but you're wanting to sing a Billy Joel song. Well, Billy Joel's a baritone, but he regularly sings up to G's and A's into sort of tenor land, if you will. If you're not well-versed at singing through the secondo passaggio, and this is really beginners and intermediate advanced vocalists, then those tunes are going to be very difficult for you. And you're probably not going to be able to move them to a key where it's going to really work because of the width of the range. General control, airflow, and vowel formation is often one of the things that causes intonation problems or out-of-tune singing in the beginning vocalist as well. So they sing E, A, and the A vowel is an entirely different way of singing from your E vowel. We have to align the vowels. E, A, and that way we get a predictable, consistent response from our voices, and it helps us to sing in tune. I might also add that we have to have an understanding and a practice for controlling our airflow. So I teach the Apogeo breath management system. There are videos online about that as well. That helps us keep air moving over the vocal fold consistently That gets us consistent vowel formations, consistent timbre. So we isolate the skills, we work on them one at a time so that we put them all together after some practice, and we get better intonation and better overall phonation or singing. All of this is true for the advanced or intermediate vocalist, but typically the intermediate and advanced vocalists are also having to deal with registration event issues, or singing into the zona de passaggio and ultimately over the secondo passaggio. This, in common speech, would be singing over the break, through the mixed voice, over the break, into the cricothyroid dominant singing voice, what is commonly thought of as head voice. How those systems work, how the voice works through those transitions, is one of the things that advanced vocalists will often be working with to get balanced out. It's a balancing act between airflow and vocal fold engagement. Too much of one or the other results in poor intonation. So if you're singing into the zona de passaggio, and you're forcing the thyroarytenoid muscles to go higher and higher, then you're going to slowly go flatter and flatter and flatter, and your tone may get more and more strident. Once you begin to balance it out, then you get better intonation. Understanding key, I think, is really, really crucial too for the intermediate and advanced vocalists, because there you're not so much moving in terms of octaves, but you're moving keys to put it right in your sweet spot. So maybe it's a major second one way or another. Case in point, let's say you want to sing High and Dry by Radiohead. I know it's an older song, but it's one that I really, really enjoy and I never tire of listening to. Thom Yorke's melody hovers around an E above middle C quite a lot. Now, if you're a baritone vocalist, that's sitting right on top of your secondo passaggio, most likely. So all you have to do is move the key down a major second. It will be almost unrecognizable to the casual listener that you've changed the key, and the leaps that you then do to get to the higher sections will go right over the secondo passaggio, much as Thom Yorke mostly avoids his secondo passaggio in that song, because he's hopping over it, going from those E's right below it to the G sharps that are right above it in the key of, I believe it's in A major if I remember correctly. So having a really good understanding of your fosh and where the secondo passaggio is can help you get your songs optimized so that they suit your voice as good as the original artist who wrote it and put it in the key that suits their voice. Now for the pro singer, all of these things can still come into play. However, we also have to take into account all of the environmental factors that go into what it is to be a performing artist. Now, a lot of these don't necessarily apply to studio. That's a bit of another question in and of itself. But for the live performing professional vocalist, what's the volume like on stage? Are you wearing earplugs? And if so, did you practice with them? Did you practice with a similar kind of monitoring situation that you're using when you're on stage? Whether it's floor wedges or in-ear monitors, were you able to practice with that in your rehearsal space? If you're gigging a lot, every day or multiple times per day for more than several days per week, are you getting the kind of vocal rest that you really need to make sure that you're going to always come out and bring your A game? If you're with a band, can they do the meet and greet? Can they do all of the crowd working before and after the gig so that you have more time to not only rest, but to not be using your own voice in a loud environment that can further your vocal fatigue? And what is your warm-up like? What's the warm-up situation like? Is it really loud too? Is it adequate to your needs? Is there more time, or do you have enough time, or do you have too much time? Are you spending too much time warming up? An assessment of the environmental factors surrounding your performances. And again, a lot of this is true for the studio, but then studios have another aspect to them as well, can help you determine what's working and what's not working. And if this sounds a lot similar in some respects to performance anxiety issues and what I discussed in that video, well, you're right. A lot of these things that are performance anxiety related are situational related, and they all go together to either make our performances work really well if we tailor them to what our needs are, or make them more difficult to us. As always, I hope this helps. If you have questions, please drop them in the comment section, get in touch via Twitter, or come to my weekly live event. We're at almost 1 year. There's Saturdays at 6 p.m. London time here on YouTube. Easy to find. Thanks so much for watching. My name is Jeff. Take really good care of your voices, enjoy singing, and hopefully we'll see you again.